Interesting is the kiss of death to the visual artist, the compulsion of the plebeian, the editorial jet fuel. It is readership, commentary, success measured by eyes stitched on letters pressed on pages planted in minds to be interesting. Gods forbid one loses interest. The signature on the death certificate of a bond certificate actuator, losing interest, losing the compelling draw, the toss of the head, the tilted eyebrow of acknowledgement. I'm terrified of boring you. What happens when you wake up one day and realize I've gone the extent of my interest? Not in the sense that my accounts contain nothing but the dust from the badlands of a saturated endeavor, heavily laden with the urgency to fill the emptiness with any words, any play, and space filler that can merit interest. Not the ambivalent, polite banter at the gallery opening, there to be seen, not to see. The interest that saves a narrative, the interest that completes a meditation, the interest that makes a character characterized and immortal, like reflecting upon the time that guy said that thing damn straight. That was interesting. I don't care if we can't even remember his name. The interesting thing he said is humidity in the air about my ears. It waters my eyes to think that words and minds can make that interest grow to fruition. That's living. Leaving an impact through brilliance. I want to be that kind of interesting, the kind to be remembered by. The interest that built the house on the plot where the neighborhood is afraid to go because they feel the occupants are too big a deal. If only they knocked on that door. I just want to be interesting to you. Is it falling down? I just want to be that interesting to you. Never grow old outside my skin and keep my immortality in that I never dull, reach my capacity, catch myself on the hurdle and call it mediocrity. I want to stay interesting to you and screw the rest of everyone. As long as I have your attention, I don't need anyone else's because I found you interesting. Interesting that you can make me catch my breath every time you speak. Every time you are about to speak, each time I think you might say something to me, I'm trapped. You're that interesting. Every idea you perpetuate or move you negotiate, you're a study and compelling. A living embodiment of the scientific method, so here's my hypothesis. You are an ideal, limitless illumination. How can I prove to such an intangible penchant, an insatiable hunger for your embodiment of my interest? I annotate a catalog of every encounter with you. Each one is worthy of dissertation. So I need to experiment. Step one would be to work up the will to meet your mind, test the capacity to engage your interest. Do I have what it takes? There's no thrilling anxiety like trying to strike up a conversation with a person certain to blow your mind. You are that person. Be too smooth and you're contrived. Be too contrived, you've lost your chance. Take too big a chance, you're out of your capacity. Think too long, and any chance of catching that interest is now moving on to another more interesting topic of study. There's a time and a place for trial and error, but this is the experiment, and it will either be a success or another anxious anticipation in another situation, this time far worse because the last time went so wrong, and all that preparation killed the science. Every time I'm on the verge of conversing with you, I am revisiting that experiment. And when we've talked and I've indulged, I can review the results of my experiment, and did I survive? Yeah. Did I fuck up? Does it matter? Am I once again whirling in the fascination of a conversation with you? My God, you are interesting. So I've got some material to analyze. I hope it never stops. Just compile and catalog and enhance and revisit. I am reveling in the ongoing experience that is knowing you, and simultaneously awash in the rapture of interaction and terrified of a time when you won't want another one. So here's the thesis. You are interesting in the way that an accomplishment is satisfying, in the way that praise is validating, in the way that being in love is narcotic. You are that interesting. So I hope you find me interesting, because I don't want to go back to the fucking laboratory.